Ever stop and wonder what actually makes a country wealthy? Well, today, we're going to break down one of the biggest forces shaping our world, economic growth, and the global trade that so often kicks it into high gear.
So, let's start with the big one, a question that really affects all of us, from the jobs we can get to our everyday quality of life. How does a country actually get richer?
The answer really boils down to this idea of economic growth. And look, it's not just about printing more money. It's about a country getting better and better at producing things and offering services. You can kind of think of it like the nation's economic pie just getting bigger and bigger over time.
And this is so important, because it's not just some abstract number you see on the news. No way. Economic growth means real, tangible benefits. We're talking better living standards, more jobs being created, and more money for the government to spend on things we all need. You know, schools, hospitals, roads. It has a direct impact on every single one of us.
Okay, so if growth is our destination, what's the engine that's going to get us there? Well, in the world we live in today, one of the most powerful engines is, without a doubt, global trade. It's this massive, interconnected web that links the fortunes of countries all across the planet. So how does this actually work? How does trade make that pie bigger? Well, it's kind of like a three-step process. First, countries specialize. They double down on what they're really good at. This focus then gives them access to brand new markets, new resources, even new tech. And the result? Businesses get to expand their customer base and just become way more efficient.
But, and this is a big but, being this connected globally is totally a double-edged sword. Of course, the benefits are huge. I mean, a bigger customer base, more efficiency. That's amazing. But it also makes you vulnerable. A recession, a conflict happening on the total opposite side of the world, that can send major shockwaves right back home.
To see how this all plays out, this delicate dance between opportunity and risk, let's take a look at a really fascinating real-world example, the story of Indonesia.
Indonesia is just a perfect illustration of this whole process. By exporting stuff they're great at making, like palm oil and electronics, to partners all over Asia and Europe, they've managed to fuel some serious economic growth. But here's the really cool part, the key bonus. It's not just about the money. All this trade has actually helped boost the country's own tech and industrial skills.
Which brings us to probably the most important question for any country that's betting big on global trade. I mean, it's one thing to get in the game, but how do you make sure it leads to lasting prosperity and not just some crazy boom and bust cycle? Well, the secret really seems to be in this delicate balancing act. Real, sustainable success comes from building a super strong foundation at home that can support and also benefit from all that global trade. And that means doing things like encouraging competitive industries, pushing for innovation, and investing in the really crucial infrastructure. You know, the ports, the communication networks, that ties everything together.
So, at the end of the day, we're left with this final, massive question. For any country, jumping into global trade is this high-stakes game of risk versus reward. The potential for incredible growth is absolutely there, but so are the dangers. The real challenge, then, isn't really if a country should trade, but how it can do it smartly. How it can grab all those benefits while protecting itself from the shocks that are, let's be honest, bound to happen.